Guys, what's going on? How we doing? John Anthony, and you are on a special edition of Chair Shot Sports post SmackDown WWE Draft. What a night it was for a lot of superstars, some staying, some going, some getting the special call into NXT coming up to the main brand. Amazing night. I want to get into it, talk about it, dive into some of the picks, the what, the why, and the how, and moving forward, what it looks like moving down the road, and also a little preview about night 2 as well. So let's get into it. Great night. Triple H comes out, talks about a new era, talks about the future. So here we go. SmackDown has their first pick. The first pick overall, the 2024 draft, is none other than the EST. Bianca Belair is the number 1 overall pick of the entire draft. Here comes Raw. Raw then selects Jey Uso as their number 1 overall pick. The number 2 pick, but Raw's number 1 overall pick was Jey Uso. Raw then selected Seth Rollins as well to keep and retain his services over on Monday night. And SmackDown made the first big splash. Made the call down to the Heartbreak Kid. SmackDown grabs Carmelo Hayes. Him, an amazing athlete. I've been saying it for months. The future is bright for this kid. And the fact that he has a main event match against Cody Rhodes, calls out Cody Rhodes, gets him in the main event. And they put on an awesome, amazing match. Cody goes over, but I mean, at this point, it's not like you're being buried or you look weak. I mean, it's your first night on SmackDown. Hey, kid, you'll get him next time, that kind of thing. But Carmelo Hayes definitely has the blessing of management, of creative, knowing that he can carry the load in a big rivalry, and the fact that he gets his shot, be it non-title, but gets his shot at Cody. Awesome opportunity for him, and says a lot for him moving forward. Round 2 comes around. SmackDown says, no, we're keeping Randy Orton. He's not going anywhere. Raw then has a pick. They also wanted to retain Liv Morgan's services. This is when things get good. SmackDown says, we're going to take Nia Jax. Awesome move for Nia. I think she's done a great job creatively, character-wise, on the mic, in the ring. Great character development of being a major top heel, especially with Bayley going over being a top face right now on the SmackDown brand. I think it's a great move, having Nia move over there. And then Raw's like, no, guess what? Well, we're taking Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is moving to the red brand. I thought for sure he was going to be staying on Friday nights, but the blue chipper is moving over to Monday nights. I think that's a great move for them. And again, you have to understand they're kind of trying to build a roster that's getting ready for Netflix. You kind of want some of these guys. Braun is amazing. I don't need to sit here. There's not enough words in the dictionary and the thesaurus. I could sit here on a podcast and take up your time and talk about how great this kid is, how amazing he's going to be moving forward. You can tell it's in his blood. You can tell that he cares. He puts in the work, and he's going to be a star for years to come in WWE. Here comes round 3. SmackDown goes ahead, and they're like, no, we're not losing him. We're not losing the megastar. Yeah, LA Knight is staying on Friday nights. Raw goes ahead and they make sure they take Ricochet. SmackDown, as we had talked about, they take the bloodline. Not the bloodline you're used to. This is your mother's bloodline. The new bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and the Wise Man get drafted to SmackDown. Now, before all this started, as SmackDown kicked off, they opened with an interview with Paul Heyman, mentioning that Roman Reigns was withdrawing himself from the draft as to not be the number 1 pick and not want to take that away from other people on the roster. Now, I don't agree with this move, partially because, as we had talked about in our prediction show, I saw this going where SmackDown takes Bloodline. Adam Pearce sees this as an opportunity to take Roman Reigns. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and critique it and poo-poo it. I mean, I'm sure whatever the vision is, whatever the story is, Roman can go wherever he wants, whenever he decides to come back, which I'm sure won't be for a while, probably around SummerSlam. The man needs some much-deserved time off. So shout out to the Tribal Chief. Hopefully enjoying being a dad, being a wife, enjoying those kids, and just living life for the entire summer. With that being said, Raw then goes and they take Sheamus. Raw makes sure they retain his services. Burger after burger after burger. You know, it's funny too. People are coming for Sheamus, fat shaming him, going after his body. The guy got the call up 2 weeks earlier than he was supposed to come up before the draft. You know, doing the right thing. You know, the guy's a little big deal. He's fighting. He's fighting injuries for 8 9 months. It's a little, little soggy around the midsection. Not a big deal. But I think him and Drew, that was money for those two. And I see definitely a rivalry down the road. Depending what happens Monday night, depending on if Drew McIntyre stays on the red brand. Here comes round 4 and the final round, which went pretty quick for a 2-hour show. Pretty quick, right? SmackDown went ahead and they're retaining the services of AJ Styles. Raw went ahead and kept the Alpha Academy. SmackDown grabbed Andrade, stole him from Monday nights. So I think that's a good pickup. And I could have seen that one coming, which we did. We did predict him going to SmackDown because with the turn for Carlito going to a heel, they're going to need to add a face or at least a comrade with Rey Mysterio to fight against heel Carlito and probably Fantasmo. So Andrade going over there makes a lot of sense. And then the last pick of the night. I talked about it on the prediction show. I didn't have her picked. We picked 3 other divas. She was not one of them. I talked about Zoe Stark. I think Monday night is when I talked about a lot of other ones. But Kiana James getting the call on Friday night to go to the red brand. What an amazing call. Someone like me, I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that are listening to this and watching this. If you've watched NXT when it was black and gold, went to the 2.0 trash, back to what it is now, the hybrid 2.0 black and gold, right? Kiana James came in. She's like the ultimate for the guys simping to this girl, right? They called her Miss Brazzers, looking like the school teacher, right? Legitimized herself a little more in the past 3 to 4 months. Aligned herself with a couple other divas trying to, get in tag teams, get little stables here and there. But Kiana James has honed her craft in the past 6 months of me watching NXT every week on Tuesday. I think she's ready. She's really put the work in. She's slimmed down. Her physique has gotten a little bit more buffer, a little tighter. And that's not what you need to get the call up. But you can tell she's taking this a lot more seriously. Not everyone's going to look like Jay Cargill. You know what I mean? It's a very happy medium. But you can tell that she's given it to the business and she knows what she's got to do to be, as she says, the 1%. Shout to EC3. So that's it. So that's the draft. Like I said, we called 50% of it. Some of them were no-brainers, and some of them, like I said, if you know what you're doing, you watch the product, you know where they're going to move certain people. The biggest surprise for me, I got to say, is Kiana James. I saw Carmelo Hayes getting a call up. I thought it was going to be after a mellow rivalry for the NXT title. I thought that might be a trick rivalry with Mello for the NXT title. I thought that's something that they might want to do. But clearly the time was right. The iron was hot. Let's call him up. Let's go and let's do it. So an amazing call up for Carmelo Hayes. I'll say it again. The kid is amazing. I've watched him from day one on NXT. Again, I've had the privilege of seeing him at Battleground and Deadline. Battleground was amazing. It was right out here in Lowell. The kid crushed, being the hometown kid. It was amazing to watch him. If you haven't gotten a chance to see an NXT PLE live, do yourself the favor, buy the ticket, go see it. It's definitely a vibe. I've brought people that have been to Raw, to SmackDown. I've been to them all. I've been to PLEs, Raw, SmackDown, you name it, live events. NXT has a different vibe and such a different feel when you're there. And it's just a different environment and just, it's so great to be there and watch it. And they put on such an amazing product. They really do. And to see it live, do yourself the favor and get out there and watch it. So no huge surprises. Carmelo Hayes and Kiana James, 2 NXT stars. I mean, that's kind of the surprises of the night. Everything else, like I said, we kind of called it. The bloodline I knew about, that's going to be a thing. I did not expect Roman Reigns to be separated from the bloodline right early on. I'd see that going a different way where they draft the bloodline and Solo kind of tells Paul where we're not taking Roman with us, things like that. I think they're going the whole line of where he told Solo Roman was out. So Solo took this opportunity to go and be the tribal chief for the new bloodline. Again, they're in the fifth inning. They're going to do their thing down the road. The way I see it, if we had to call it, we'll talk about this later on down the road. You're looking at a new bloodline versus an old bloodline. Roman's going to join back up with Jimmy and Jay are going to make up. Be nice. There'll be a face faction against the new bloodline. You're looking at War Games for Survivor Series, so that's probably where the breadcrumbs are running for that one. Yeah. So I mean, overall, like I said, I give it a solid solid A, man. Show was great. The matches in between were great. I like Nia already interjecting herself into the women's division. I like that they just made the decision at Backlash to be Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley for the women's championship. I think that's going to be a great match. Spoiler: I don't think listen. My clock runs on Tiffy time. It has been since I saw her in NXT when it was Daddy's little princess, and Daddy's little rich girl. But Bayley's going to have that belt for a while. But it's a great time. I like how they're keeping Tiffany in there. They're doing the triple threat matches. Naomi's back, only been back about 5 months. She doesn't look too weak. Tiffany's a call up. She's not looking weak, but Bayley still has the opportunity to keep the belt. So I digress. We'll talk about that more when we do our Backlash preview next week. I just want to talk about a little bit, I guess, the attitude I see on Twitter. It's funny. If you watch wrestling, right? If you watch wrestling on a regular basis, you know that this is not a regular draft. This is an NFL draft, an MLB draft, an NBA draft, okay? If you understand the premise and you listen to how it works, these general managers are drafting. And first of all, we get it. We get that everything's predetermined. It's just like the matches. People are out here acting like, oh, it's a real-time thing. I think the only person who didn't know they're getting drafted was James over in NXT. That was some actual, genuine emotion that you saw from her. But if you're sitting here and you're on Twitter and you're on your social media and you're poo-pooing the WWE Draft, you're out here looking like a moron, to be honest with you. This isn't a regular draft like the NBA, the MLB, things like that, okay? This draft is meant to be strategic. Not only do you have to, if Nick Aldis goes out and he drafts the entire Raw roster, that leaves literally all the SmackDown roster open for Adam Pearce. This isn't a draft of grabbing the best guys. Yes, I get see guys out here say, oh, it's boring. Oh, first of all, you're on the 2-hour show, which is the shorter draft. Okay, and the draft pool isn't that big. 2, it's not meant to be shock and awe every single round. Okay? You call up a couple guys from NXT, you move a couple people around, and then Monday night, when you have the 3 hours and you have the 24 picks, that's where you start doing the cool stuff. So just put your phone down, get off of Twitter, and just enjoy the ride that WWE's taking you on. All right? Like, seriously, it just cracks me up. Like, what are people commenting on my posts? When I'm talking about the draft, I'm sharing the rounds, and, it's boring, so neither one won. Oh, well, it sucks. This is boring. Trash as usual. Trash as usual? Oh, so the trash as usual for you was when the IC title would move over to Raw, so then you have to tune into Raw to see the US title move to SmackDown. Because that was totally non-predictable, right? But we're grabbing guys from NXT. We're grabbing young ladies from NXT. We're making strategic changes here and there on Friday nights. And obviously Raw is going to have a lot more surprises because that's the flagship. That's what they do. So it just kills me that like people act like this is the first time they've tuned into a WWE draft. As usual, it's very boring. That's great. What are you doing watching? I don't tell you. Like, just wait. Don't watch it. Wait till the results come out and go scroll through your phone on your Facebook and your Twitter and just check out to see who moved where. Why are you watching it? Don't watch it then. But you watched it enough. You were intrigued enough to watch it though, right? And comment about it on Twitter. Just gets me all the time. I don't get it. The draft is a strategic model for the GMs to retain their stars and also grab other people, which is why they went even to the great lengths of Triple H when they started the whole thing tonight to talk about how the GMs have to understand they can't, every time they go and grab a new person, they leave their stars out there in the open. That's literally why Paul had to go out there and say that, because these people talking about the draft and how it's so boring, it's so predictable. Yeah, because everyone had Keanu James on their bingo card, right? Really, I want someone send me the screenshot in the comments of where you thought Keanu James was going in the draft. I didn't have her. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I watch a damn hell lot of wrestling, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, and pertaining to the draft, I did not have her on my bingo card, at least for the draft. So, if you knew that, then please let me know, because I would love to talk to you and pick your brain about some of the picks for Monday night. So, I digress. I'll close with, I think it was a good night. It was a solid SmackDown night, just as it always is. Even when sometimes they start on Raw and finish on SmackDown, SmackDown always has the one or two shock and awe, where Raw, being the flagship, being the banner holder of the company, always has the better 3 hours and the better draft picks. So, with talking about all the draft, I did not want to just pass by. We're gonna have our weekly show on Sunday. We're gonna have our Raw post draft show on Monday, and then Tuesday we're gonna be talking about our Backlash preview as well. So a lot of content coming out from Chair Shot Sports. I'll take this opportunity to let you know, if you're not already following us, it's all one word: Chair Shot Sports on YouTube, also on X, and also on Instagram at Chair Shot Sports. We appreciate a follow, a like, and if you're on YouTube, a subscribe as well. I just want to talk about Nick Khan selling, let me get the number right, 234,424 shares of his stocks. For those of you counting at home, that's all of his stocks. Nick Khan has now depleted all of his TKO stocks and shareholdings with the company. This broke about 5 hours ago, so I'm not going to talk too much on it and speculate and say a lot of things of what it is. What if I had to think it is, with the young lady who went ahead and raised a lawsuit against VKM and WWE. Nick Khan, early court testimony, was one of the men who was single-handedly involved in making sure that she was kept quiet and dismissed and stayed, quote, Vince's sex slave, unquote. Now, again, I talk about these things. Our show is labeled not for children. So, I try to keep it to a level. We try and talk about not a lot about VKM, as he's been, pretty much banished and erased from WWE history. But the feeling overall from the couple people I reached out to tonight, it's a busy weekend at WWE. Not a lot of people are texting me back and giving me phone calls back from who we talked to. But the general feeling is that something has come up, something has come out. And it was no secret that people talked about the other shoes dropping. If you're into the whole tribalism, if you go and look at Twitter, people originally said that Triple H is going to get fired, being his son-in-law. How did he not know? And this, that, and the other. What I say is, if you're Nick Khan and you're the COO or the CEO under Vince McMahon, there's one guy who knew everything, and that was Nick Khan. So at some point, something has come out where Nick knew what he was doing, either turned a blind eye, had his finger on the pulse, or did what he could to erase it and help Vince. But selling that much is the equivalent of almost $25 million in equity, in money. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. Again, these are early numbers that I read online. Doing a couple looks on Forbes and CNBC, looking at what that came out to money-wise. Again, that's something I really want to talk about a lot about right now, talking about the draft. But it's something we're going to monitor, talk about next week. We do a recap for the week. So, crazy time on WWE. We'll talk a little bit more about it next week. Like I said, we'll do a little more research and talk about it then. So, again, awesome night. Just want to do a quick recap with everybody. SmackDown, I give it an A+. Great show. Picks were great. Again, congratulations to Carmelo Hayes and to Kiana James. Welcome to the Raw and SmackDown, respectfully, WWE rosters. And congratulations to everyone who moved, who stayed, and is excited for the future and the new era of WWE. So I'll tell you one more time. YouTube, X, Instagram, all one word, at Chairshot Sports. Shoot us a follow, shoot us a like, and if you're taking a look at this video right now, last I checked, 94.2% of you are watching this and you're not subscribed. We'd appreciate some subscribe. Give us a chance. Check out our content. We have at least 3 new episodes coming up in the next 3 to 4 days covering a bunch of WWE. We're also going to be talking about NWA as well, and also AEW. So please, we appreciate it. I'm John Anthony. Hope everyone enjoyed the WWE Draft. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.